Good morning, everybody. This is Town Peterson. I'm here with our, I believe, 28th Global Online Seminar in Biodiversity Informatics. This is a rather informal seminar in that it's not research. It's basically asking your assistance with an initiative to translate a big learning resource for biodiversity informatics. So if you're interested in international education in biodiversity informatics, and if you have some language abilities, stick with us, and if not, pass this link on to somebody who does or who might be from another country and be interested in these issues. So I'm going to jump into showing you a little bit about why we want to get the biodiversity informatics training curriculum translated and how we're going to make it quite easy to do. So I'm going to share my screen and jump into this presentation. Okay. Okay, so this is a presentation by myself and Kate Ingenloff, but Kate Ingenloff appears to have had a rather unfortunate interaction with a pathogen in recent days, and so she's a little under the weather. But essentially, this is to lay out the ideas and the motivations behind translating the biodiversity informatics training curriculum into a bunch of other languages beyond English. So stick with me, and I'll lay out where this stands. First of all, if you have any questions, direct them to this email address, biodivtraining@gmail.com, and we'll answer your questions at the end. This initiative comes from from funding by the JRS Biodiversity Foundation. You can see their purpose statement is to help protect the Earth's diverse species, to improve the quality of life, better manage natural systems, sustain human health, and maintain economic stability. And JRS decided a few years ago to support this effort, which was aimed at providing educational resources for biodiversity informatics as kind of a foundation for a lot of its work in biodiversity informatics. What can we say about this field? Well, it's a new field. The term biodiversity informatics was coined only 20-ish years ago. And because it's a new field, there are no comprehensive textbooks, there are no degree programs. There's essentially no place to go to get a best practices view of the field. And indeed, there are actually very few training resources in general. And yet, this is a field that is of considerable importance in biology and conservation, in natural resource management, etc. So it's a non-trivial, important field, and yet there's no good way into it, which is to say there's no, in many aspects of the field, there's no resource to which you can go other than the primary literature. And that means that anybody trying to get into this field and starting to work in it has a lot of reading and interpretation and guesswork to do. Now, a few years ago, colleagues and I started exploring opportunities of technology. And we started with some assumptions, which is that in-person teaching is always best. You can ask questions, you can interact, you can understand a person better in person. But at the same time, we felt that a lot could be achieved with providing an online, global, open dimension to this training as well. And so we were exploring pretty simple technologies, things like YouTube, which is just a platform for posting videos. And in a moment, I'll tell you about dotsub, which is a platform for translating and subtitling. And the idea is, and the basis for the whole BITC effort, is that we can provide a large amount of content broadly, globally, and with very little expense, and not, well, not a trivial amount, but not a prohibitive amount of effort. The idea is that we hold in-person training courses. We capture digital video of all of the content of those courses. We publish those videos to YouTube. We transcribe the videos to English subtitles. So that's basically just providing a subtitling of the English. The courses are taught in English. And so adding subtitles basically assists anybody who might have some trouble with understanding spoken English. And then the next step, and this is why I'm talking with you today, the next step is to translate those English subtitles into a bunch of other languages via crowdsourcing. And then something that we're already doing is to provide ancillary information that's relevant to the training courses via web links. So essentially the missing link is this translation step. As I told you already, the proposal to JRS was submitted in January 2012. You can see this slide is a little dated, but the in-person courses were held in 9 cities across Africa, and that was between 2013 and 2015. We're presently seeking funding for additional courses for another 5 years. The online content is already in hand and produced. The backbone of the curriculum is more than 500 videos published on our YouTube channel, and rich web links to all the other content. And the funding from JRS was just enough. It was generous, and we're very grateful to JRS. But it was just enough to carry off the courses, the recording, and funding for a course assistant who is now the co-director of this effort. I already mentioned to you Kate Ingenloff. Here's what's in the curriculum. We have courses essentially with introductory material, courses on how to describe new species, how to capture biodiversity data, how to clean and enrich biodiversity data, how to publish and share biodiversity data. That's publishing in the sense of making the data openly available via the internet. Then some analysis techniques like ecological niche modeling, and kind of a smorgasbord of other analyses that one can apply to biodiversity data. We had some synthetic courses such as building biodiversity informatics institutions and conducting conducting local biodiversity inventories and developing national biodiversity diagnostics, implementing conservation efforts for biodiversity, and public health applications of biodiversity information. So as you can imagine, that's a lot of information. These courses lasted between 2 days and 2 weeks. And so some of them are relatively small and some of them are relatively large. And each is captured in the form of multiple YouTube videos. As I said, the in-person dimension was very important. So these are just some images from past courses. Some of the courses even had field dimensions, so we got out and, shall we say, got our hands dirty doing the actual field work and not just analyzing existing data. And then To supplement the in-person courses, we've added a bunch of additional modules, one on how to publish scientific papers, one on how to prepare funding proposals, one on using QGIS, which is an open source GIS platform. That's already developed. Using R in biodiversity informatics is developed. And we're awaiting quite soon one on using a very useful tool called OpenRefine, which is for editing and improving and cleaning very large data sets. We have a bunch of communications platforms, including an online open access journal, and that has no publication fees. It's subsidized by the University of Kansas. We have a Facebook group, which now has almost 3,200 members. We have a project webpage, which gives the links to all of the course materials under the BI curriculum link, which links to each of the courses and all of the ancillary materials. We have this seminar series, which is held the final Thursday of each month. A YouTube channel where all of the videos are held. So you can see this is an enormous amount of information that's made available. But the problem is that all of the information is in English only. And that is a problem. The original instruction was in English, mainly because our contact and expert network was mostly English speaking. We were seeking consistent content. So English was a logical choice because that was the only language where we could get experts who could do the instruction across the entire spectrum of biodiversity informatics. But as many of you around the world know, English-only videos will make them difficult to understand and access, even for some English speakers, and also will slow down the uptake of the BITC for other audiences where English may not be the dominant language. So the solution that we wish to explore, is to add subtitles to all BITC videos. Now the initial subtitles will be in English, and then we will crowdsource their translation into, our initial goal is all of the UN languages, and thinking about Portuguese Africa and Portuguese America, we're looking to add in Portuguese as well. But we're very eager to see this effort go beyond just the UN languages and extend essentially to any language for which there's an interested community. So I'm going to show you a few examples from one video that we have already begun to enrich in this way. So first, the English subtitles. Let's see if the video loads. So here's the video in YouTube. So you can see this essentially at any internet cafe around the world. Sorry, they're mostly videos of me. That's not out of conceit, but rather it's the video that we happen to choose for initial testing. And so you can see I'm talking, but also you can see the English transcription of what I'm saying at the base of the screen. Okay, so again, that makes the process a bit easier for some people who speak English, but just would like a little bit of an assist with seeing it in words as well. But a couple years ago, just to test this idea of crowdsourcing subtitling, we put this video out and asked people to subtitle it. Let's see if this works. It seems to have loaded a different browser. Nope. Sorry. Put in your. Okay, well, for some reason that's not working. No, I'm just going to go back to that video. Hold on. There we go. So I should be able to go to. Well, I'm sorry. Hang with me, everybody. Well, I have no idea why those embedded links worked the first time, but not subsequent times. I'll try that, yeah. No. Okay, my apologies. Suffice it to say they work. And so you end up with a nice, rich view of the video with, in this case, me speaking in English, but also with French or Chinese or Arabic or Spanish or Portuguese or Russian translation in the subtitles. So the way that we're doing this this subtitling is via a platform called dotsub. And dotsub is simply a platform for enabling adding subtitles and translating subtitles. So if you are interested in participating, you go to the dotsub page, you create a user account, and once you have your user account, you'll want to go to the BITC video editing page. And I've got the link here, and I'll circulate the whole presentation shortly. And you can go on this page to these dotsub video titles, which are linked to dotsub uploaded videos. And so essentially you click in this column D, you click on the video that you would like to listen to and hopefully translate. Okay, so here is what that will take you to. This is just one video, and we have already done the subtitling, so you can see, again, me talking. Again, my apologies. And you go down here to caption and translate, and you can start translating. So I'm going to try again, and this time I'm going to succeed. I'm going to go into dotsub. Okay, so there we go. It says sign in, so I need to sign in order to get to this. Nope, didn't like that. Do you remember your sign in? this is the bad thing about having all of your passwords automatically taken care of. If you don't remember your sign-in keys. It also means you can't use anybody else's laptop. Okay, so thank you, Ali. So here is a one of our videos, and you simply choose a language. I'm going to pick Spanish. But you see there's quite a diversity of languages into which you can translate. And so now we come to this very pleasant page where I can watch. So here goes the intro. Okay, so what we've been doing so far this week is to take some big data sets. Okay. Okay, so there I've translated that piece, that 5-second piece, and I just hit enter, and it's done. I'm not going to do the whole thing, don't worry. Okay, so as you can see, it's quite easy because you have the spoken and play with them, clean them up, and most of all, we've been looking for holes in them. We've been looking for what we don't know. Okay, and so it's you see both the video, you hear the audio, and you see the English version, and you're given this very pleasant little box in which to put your translation. So it's actually quite easy to use. And when you finish, maybe just with that video, maybe with 5 minutes of that video, you just stop, and your translation is already contributed automatically to the translation of that video. So really the platform is incredibly convenient. And if we had a bunch of people who were interested in simply using the videos and perhaps translating them as they go, which is an excellent way to learn things, we can get a large amount of video translated in a short amount of time. So I would encourage groups to pick up these videos and to begin their translation into whatever language is of interest. At the end, what we can produce is an open access learning resource for biodiversity informatics. That's essentially done, but in English. So we have that English accessible learning resource, and we've added about 1/3 of the necessary subtitles, which is to say we've added subtitles to about 1/3 of the videos. And with your help, we can add subtitles in many other languages to facilitate understanding for people around the world. And indeed, this can be translated into any local language as well. So if there is a local community, maybe not one of the UN languages, but a local community that has interest in some or all of these videos, translating into that language is actually quite feasible using this platform. So That's just an introduction to the idea of getting the BITC translated. No, it's not going to just happen. It requires your collaboration. It requires your assistance if we're going to make this happen. So if you would like to participate, I hope that this video has convinced you that it's pretty easy. And I hope that you will jump in and give it a try. If you have any trouble, be sure to let us know, because it's not a difficult thing to do, and we'd be very, very glad to help you getting started. So I'm going to come back to, let's see if I can figure out how to come back to me. There we go. Stop screen sharing. Remember, you can send questions to biodivtraining@gmail.com. If you don't, then feel free to email Kate or me, and we will get your questions answered. But I've worked now for years with communities across Latin America, across Africa, across Asia. I know that there are large communities out in each of those regions that are interested in biodiversity informatics and that have supported the biodiversity informatics training curriculum. This is another generation of support. If you or your students or your peers are using these resources, take a little bit extra time. Use the resources via dotsub, not via YouTube. Same resources, of course. And can you help us out with getting this translated? So I'm seeing, let's see, John Wichorek from Argentina is asking a question. Could I please change the background on the slides? So I will do that so that you can actually read the links. Okay, that better, John? Now, John is also asking, can I add those links to the comments on the video? Yes, I will do that. And then he asks, is there a mechanism to reserve a resource to be translated, or is that irrelevant for how dotsub works? Basically, how does one say, I'll take that and not have multiple people working on it without knowing? Well, it is crowdsourced, so actually the whole point is that multiple people can work on it. I don't know what will happen on dotsub if two people are working on exactly the same piece of video at exactly the same time, but I'm guessing it won't be that immediate. Now, the way that you get to the videos for translation is via this table, which is viewable at this link, which again, I'll put on the YouTube live page and all the other relevant places. So that takes you to this page, and then each of these videos in column D is linked directly to dotsub to give you a translatable video. So I guess I wasn't sharing my screen. Sorry about that. Here is the thing I was trying to show to you. Each one of these video names in column D is a link to the to dotsub. So you can get to dotsub via this page and go directly to the video that you're interested in. And you can see that we have a tracking page for translations as they're done. And in other parts of the spreadsheet, some parts are relatively well filled out. Well, I'm not, let's see. Okay, John says, great, makes good sense, thanks. Thank you, John. John's been an enormous supporter of this project and participated as an instructor in the courses in Kenya and Ghana over the years. So, so with that, I will stop. I will thank you for your time and patience in joining us today. Everybody wish Kate a recovery from whatever pathogen is oppressing her. And please do get in contact with us if you are interested in joining the translation effort. I'll be putting out all of the links shortly so that you can get to everything necessary. Thank you again, and remember also that our next global online seminar will be end of November, because in the US, the last Thursday of November is Thanksgiving. We'll do it on the last Wednesday of November, and we'll have a summary of citizen science efforts in biodiversity informatics from Steve Kelling at Cornell University. So thanks again, and hope to see you next month.